visit our website, instantReplaySportsCards.com. If they have any questions, there's a little form on there. They can send us questions. We get people all the time asking, hey, I found these cards. They were my dad's or grandpa's or whatever, and, what have I got here? So we're looking at cards people bring in all the time.
And I was kind of thinking about it while you were talking to me with these hobby boxes that are obviously, they make one run of that particular and then they move on, which makes it a lot more valuable. But when you buy the boxes, you've got these, is it guaranteed to a certain level that you're going to get one, however many cards in some of those, higher dollar hobby boxes?
Yes, they'll tell you right on there. Some of the companies will say, on average, you're going to get let's say 3 cards that are either autographed or contain a piece of like a player's uniform or their equipment, their bat, whatever in the card. Some will explicitly just say you get 1 autographed card in every box, in this hobby product. It varies. Again, they kind of cover all the price points.
Yeah.
There are hobby boxes that are very affordable that have a lot of good value and a lot of fun for the collector in there. And then there are some, we get a lot of people who buy hobby boxes because they're short printed. They'll buy them and just put them up and wait because they know there are products that came out last year that are already worth 4 or 5 times what people paid for them when they came out.
I attribute it a little bit like gambling to a certain degree. Obviously,
yes.
When you're spending money, it's a risk. It's a game. You've got some guarantees when it comes to these hobby boxes, but it's kind of like you buy that box and you start diving in, and you could have a card in there worth $15,000, and just you not know it until you do it. And I think that's where on my side, I love to gamble on sports and all that stuff, and that's why I've kind of gotten into it a little bit. And my son, who's a big San Francisco 49ers fan like myself, and we bought a couple packs for one of his buddies for his birthday last weekend, and I had just bought a few Brock Purdy cards, and he had to pick 2 of the packs, and he gives 2 of the other packs to his buddy, and then he's opened them at the birthday party, and was a Brock Purdy rookie card in there. So Liam was like, "Oh, I wish I would have had that one." Of course, because it's a gamble. It's a gamble,
right.
Especially when it comes to those smaller ones. But
we always tell people, they mention about well, it's sort of like buying scratch-offs. It is, however, if you buy a scratch-off and you scratch it off and you don't win, it will never win. They never have like a second chance scratch-off drawing. Whereas with this, there were people, like you mentioned, Brock Purdy, a year ago who were pulling Brock Purdy cards going, oh, this guy was the last guy taken in the draft. He's never going to play. He's not going to be worth anything. And then all of a sudden, a couple of months later, they're scrambling to, where'd I put that?
Yeah, where's that Purdy card? That rookie card. Yep.
So there's always a chance somebody jumps out later. The big guy right now in baseball, Ellie De La Cruz.
Yep.
And people have been pulling Ellie De La Cruz cards for the last year or two, and wasn't a lot of value in them yet. They were probably looking for other players. And now all of a sudden, he's the guy to have. And there are people sitting on a, sort of a gold mine. If they were, lucky enough to pull them and smart enough to kind of hang on to them and just see what happened.
And some of those specialty cards, the holographs, the ones that they only make so many of those, and why they make them so rare, or why their value is so much higher.
Yes, yeah, and that was sort of a response to a lot of the collectors' concerns about back in the 90s. Everybody thought, hey, I buy baseball cards, they're going to be worth a ton of money. Because when the card boom happened, they were looking at cards from the 1960s or 50s or earlier and going, wow, Mickey Mantle is worth a bunch of money. Joe DiMaggio is worth a bunch of money. Bo Jackson and Martin McGwire are going to be worth a ton of money, too. Well, they may have been if they hadn't printed so many cards.
Yeah.
Now, in response to that, a lot of the card companies will stamp serial numbers on the cards so that you know how many were made. And you can see when you pull a card and it says, this is number 17 out of 50, there are only 49 other ones in the entire world, and you don't have to worry that it's overprinted. You've got a limited edition version of that card, and the lower the number, the more it's going to be worth.
Ooh, so the higher, or lower the total number, not the lower, not like 10 out of 50 versus 40 out of 50, just obviously the total amount lower.
Correct, although you do have people that will pay a premium for the number 1 of something.
Gotcha.
Or the other thing people like to collect is an athlete's jersey number. So you get people that want to buy, Mike Trout, who's number 27 out of 50 or 27 out of 100. Or they'll pay more for 27 than they'll pay for 26 or 28.
Huh, interesting. I mean, there's so much stuff to learn. That's why you said it can be a little bit overwhelming, and that's why I'm excited to have you on to ask you some specific questions with your undivided attention, which is kind of fun. But something else y'all do, and it's, I believe, coming up tonight. You guys have, I saw on your website, you've got an Instant Replay Kids Club. Tell everybody about that a little bit.
Yes. So every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m., we have our Kids Club, and the kids come in, and we'll do box breaks, which, if you're not familiar with, it's a big thing in card collecting. It's been going on for years now. We'll take a product, and people sort of split the cost and buy in, and then everybody will get, perhaps it's a division in that sport or a certain team or player. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But this way, everybody gets something. So the kids will all buy in. We keep it affordable for them. It's never more than $10 for them to buy in, and they guarantee to get cards out of it. They'll trade with each other, bring their cards in and trade, or trade what they get out of the things we open. We play games and do giveaways with them. So it's just a lot of fun. It's something where the kids can do in a hobby that's, you know, for better or worse, it's dominated by money, and a lot of times kids are kind of left out in the cold with that. They can't buy some of the better cards, some of the things adults jump on before kids can get into it. This is just for the kids to enjoy it.
Yeah, and so we have introduce them to it and have fun.
Yeah, the kids love it. Like I say, they get to meet other kids their age who are into what they're into. They get introduced to new sports. We have kids who come in and they're just a football collector. They just watch hockey or what, and they'll get into some of the other sports and realize that, hey, you know what, I had never watched basketball before, but I kind of like these cards, or you know, something like that. And like I say, meet other kids that are really into it. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for the kids to do.
And learning and knowledge can set them up to be, you know, future hobbyists and collectors and all that stuff. And you know, what would you say? We just got a couple minutes left. What would you say is, you know, some of the hottest stuff that you're either looking for or people are looking for right now when it comes to some specifics? Not to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious myself.
Yeah, just a couple of things. As far as athletes right now, obviously, like I said, Ellie De La Cruz, Victor Wemby, basketball. He doesn't have a lot of cards out right now at Wembanyama, but people are looking for him. The card companies are aware of that. They're making his cards hard to find. They're kind of dangling them out there and teasing people with them. As far as what we're looking for, as I said, always vintage Hall of Famers. You know, if you've got a collection, if you've got Mickey Mantle, Hank Aaron, Sandy Koufax, Roberto Clemente, those kinds of players. In football, sort of the same. If you've got old Bart Starr, Johnny Unitas, Jim Brown, those kinds of guys we're always looking for. Modern football, you know, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, the big guys. The quarterbacks are always the most popular in football. It's kind of different, like with baseball. Any position can be a big one in the world of card collecting. But yeah, that's something. We're always willing to look at what people bring in. So you never know.
Now, when it comes to like autographs and stuff like that, do you guys help facilitate the authentication process, or does that just, you know, go in with PSA and all that stuff? Do you guys have a service where you can help people send their stuff in to get graded?
We can. I'll walk anybody through it. I would advise, if anybody does a research on this, send your cards off for grading yourself. The moment you turn them over to like a card shop to do it, there are court cases that have set precedents on this the last couple of years. Legally, as far as courts are concerned, they're not your cards anymore. There have been incidents where card shops were, declared bankruptcy or went out of business or something, and the people who had dropped their cards off do not get their cards back. It's something courts have to catch up with and get a little more savvy about collecting. But we'll walk anybody through it. It's a real easy process now. The reason card shops started doing that 10 years or so back was it was very difficult to send your cards off. The grading companies made it confusing. It's simple now. It's on their website. We don't mind walking anybody through it. For authentication, we have JSA coming here to the shop September 9th. They will authenticate autographs on the spot.
That's good to know, because I have a card with an autograph that I've been debating whether to send off or not, but you said September 9th?
September 9th, JSA, yes. They are the leading autograph authentication company in the world, as far as I know. The FBI uses them on forgery cases. They help break the biggest forgery ring. There's a book about it called Operation Bullpen. They are the go-tos. They're the experts, and they'll be here in the shop Saturday, September 9th. You bring your items in, you fill out your paperwork, pay their fee, and you'll be able to take your item home with a certificate of authenticity that day for most autographs.
Yeah, David, don't let me forget, September 9th.
I'm going to bring my basketball up.
Yes, we've been waiting for this moment. There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, it's...
'cause otherwise, you have to ship them off to them. It takes a couple of months. This way you can get it done that day.
Yeah, I'm an instant, just like all these kids, I'm an instant gratification. I want to know right then and there, and to have an opportunity right here just down the road is fantastic. Aaron, it's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to hopefully having you come in studio here as we continue on and keep this relationship going. So appreciate you today, and I'm sure I'll have tons of selfish questions, and as listeners are listening and call in, we'll keep them coming to you for sure. But we appreciate your time today.
No problem. Thank y'all for having us.
All right, thanks, Aaron. That's Aaron with Instant Replay Sports Cards right over there by Academy Sports on 23rd Street. They've been in business for a long time, up there on 231, but now they're right here in the heart of Panama City. So go check them out. They may have a card you might be looking for. When we get back, it's our final segment of this Friday afternoon. You're listening to the Inside Drive.
ESPN Northwest Florida has the real local fishing report. Hi, this is Tim from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. Join me every Friday at 4:20 during the afternoon Underdogs. It's accurate, detailed content from local anglers, plus fishing updates on Saturday and Sunday morning right when you hit the water. Advice and stories from local anglers. Tune into the Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle Fishing Report, exclusively on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Take your next adventure in an eco-friendly, all-electric Kia EV6 that gives you the movement that inspires. You can live fully charged while saving now and down the road on fuel costs. Schedule a test drive today and explore the electrified Kia vehicles at Bill Bird Kia. You have to drive it to believe it. Now offering $7,500 EV lease bonus when you lease a new 2023 Kia EV6 Wind Electric all-wheel drive for 36 months. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology with a performance that minimizes the impact of our environment. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. See us today at 2435 East 15th Street or BillBirdKia@PanamaCity.com. We make it easy to switch to EV ownership and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Close-in lease based on a new 2023 Kia EV6 model number N5452. No security deposit required. $7,500 EV lease bonus not available for cash. Subject to credit approval, dealer participation, and vehicle availability. $49.99 due at signing for a well-qualified lease and see dealer for complete details. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 9/5/23.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies, new and vintage cards, and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports, and can always be reached at instantReplaySportsCards.com.
Coming in hot.
So hot.
It'll be a hot one. Really hot. Goddamn. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. It's 29 seconds when the drums first come in on Thunderstruck. We've got it timed.
Count it down.
We got it timed in the car because it's one of our pump-up songs, that's for sure. Somehow we survived this Tuesday through Friday, David, without Jay in the studio.
I don't know, man. I know we did, but I feel like Jay was here in spirit in that last segment. The microphone just fell over. No one's even sitting in the chair, and the microphone fell over.
That is, oh man, that is such a good point. Yeah, that is Jay's chair. And Jay has knocked over the microphone before
plenty of times
during his clam chowder episode.
He just leaned back a little too far. His knee caught the base of the microphone. I mean, I'm just envisioning ghost here, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I looked at you when it fell in that last segment, but then I had forgot it fell. But yeah, that's Jay's chair. That's Jay's microphone. Mm-hmm. He's here in spirit, even though he's still kicking, as far as I know. So Jay's got some extra power. I know he's survived the week. I think the kids are over now at noon and had a great time, and it's fun to see all the little dudes out there. And kudos to Jay and all those little kids for surviving this heat out there.
It says back here, and I don't know how well I can trust our our little system here for the weather, but it says the current temperature is 91 degrees and the feels like is 120.
That's the crazy thing right now. You know, we're not the 117 out there in Arizona. I know we're in a huge heat wave right now and it's hot everywhere, but that's the kicker is that it's it's 91 air temp, but it makes you feel like it's 100 and whatever you just said.
Yeah, 120, but why even, what does the 91 degrees matter?
It doesn't. If it feels like 120, tell me it's 120.
Come on, man.
I think it's just
makes everything so daggum difficult these days.
All these calculations and all that. It's like this Open Championship. As we were in that last segment, I had said Sepp Straka had ripped off 3 birdies. He ripped off another birdie. He birdied holes 12 through 15, but then ended up bogeying 16, but then birdied 17 again. So he's got it to 3 under par again for the tournament. Again, that's still 7 shots back of leader Brian Harman. Tommy Fleetwood's even on his round, still holding down that second spot. If it all shakes out, he's got about 4 holes to go. If that shakes out, it'll be Harman and Fleetwood in that final pairing tomorrow on Saturday, bright and early, which will be exciting. Women's World Cup, they get underway in the 2023 FIFA World Cup tonight. That'll be on Fox playing Vietnam. I believe that's 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. our time. It's right there on Fox in 4K if you have 4K.
In 4K, let's go.
Nothing like seeing those blades of grass in 4K. It just makes all the difference in the world for me. But in earlier games, you had Switzerland beating the Philippines 2-0. Spain, one of the other favorites to win the World Cup, taking down Costa Rica 3-0. Got some more group play kicked off, but everybody likes the USA's chances to make a third World Cup victory, which would be a record. As we talked about yesterday, the Women's World Cup has been around since 1991, so it'd be pretty cool to see that happen. That's for sure. I don't know if you had anything there.
Oh, no. I was watching some clips from the Open earlier, and Tony Finau had to use a putter in the bunker.
Yeah.
What in the world?
Well, sometimes.
And I saw he was like a little close to that edge, and see, that's the difference in a professional golfer and a David golfer, because I would have just, whatever, like, I'm going for it. You know what I mean? At this point, what's it matter? I'm already hitting 5.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's the thing, too. The bunkers over there are so much different than ours. They got all these pop bunkers with the layer of sod going all the way up. And if you're not far enough back from that, I mean, a lot of these guys can get it vertical very quickly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to go out sideways. Sometimes you got to go out backwards.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to use your putter just to get out, because one stroke to get out costs you a stroke, yes, and then you're hitting back towards the flag. But if you take 1 or 2, I mean, that.
And if you hit it into that sod, then you've just created a lie angle that's almost impossible to get out of as well. But it looked like a flop opportunity to me.
Yeah, see, that's your bread and butter there, the flop shot. As long as you know how to execute that bunker shot correctly, that could be very, very, very beneficial. Excited to see the rest of the way. Again, you get to get up. You don't even have to get up super early. I'd try to figure out when the first tee time is tomorrow, but trying to, with these British websites, or I guess they're in England, so that's British, I guess. But I heard somebody, was it on your show yesterday, talking about the British Open versus the Open Championship?
Yeah, Professor Plum had a question for Alan Watson about why did they drop off British, the adjective of or the adjective to the Open.
Yeah, I'm assuming even though they have been playing courses that aren't in England or the UK or wherever it may be, they've been playing golf courses in Scotland, Ireland, all throughout. I mean, it originated in Scotland.
So it should just be the Scottish Open then.
Well, they have their
Oh yeah, that was the term last week, right? Yeah.
So they do have the Scottish Open, but yeah, I think since it wasn't, a lot of people still call it the British Open because it was that forever, but it wasn't actually in Britain or Great Britain or England or whatever it may be, or even in Wales for that matter. So Open Championship.
Why don't we just call it the Non-American Open?
Yeah.
How's that work?
Dustin Johnson can compete in that every year.
There you go.
According to our good friend, Mr. Henley. But yeah, no, it's some
that would be the Un-American Open.
Un-American Open, which, I guess this is kind of the Un-American Open, but, the last major of the year is already here, which is pretty crazy to believe. I know we don't have a ton of time, but some interesting things, awesome to have Ryan Goodson on the show today. What do you think about, the Washington Commanders being sold?
Well, it's, Magic Johnson's a part of that group with, I believe, Ryan Smith, rookie NFL owner. That could be interesting. I don't think that we see a ton of changes this year, but I would not be surprised to see the Commanders' name changed. I don't know what they would go with, but if I'm a Redskins fan, put it that way, I don't want to lose the color scheme, though. You know what I mean? Because that's Washington. Well, not necessarily Washington, but that is that franchise right there. And I don't know what they're going to go with outside of Commanders.
Now, was there something with the Commanders name that they found it was copyright or something like that?
Yeah, something to do with that. I didn't read too much into it because of everything that's going on with it.
Yeah.
But Magic Johnson did come out today and say that, everything's on the table.
Even the Redskins?
I don't know about that. That would be awesome, though.
That'd be wild, wouldn't it?
I just had a little thought that I'm not gonna dive into, but yeah, it would be. I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. For me, and this is without getting the answer from a Native American, you know what I mean? But to me, it's always I've never seen it as a negative connotation when I'm talking about the Chiefs, the Braves. If they see it that way, then that kind of changes things.
Of course.
But I mean, it seems to be the people with problems are, they have no ties to anything.
Yeah,
they're just sensitive for no reason. So it is what it is.
Well, and Snyder was fined $60 million on the way out for all the misconduct allegations and all that stuff. But, when you buy an NFL franchise back in 1999 for $800 million and you sell it for $6 billion, you can afford that $60 million hit.
That's true.
Yeah, talk about these NFL franchises that were bought in the 90s and maybe even the 80s, and I mean,
like if Jerry Jones were to sell the Cowboys,
what he paid for it,
they might win a Super Bowl first and foremost.
Yeah, if you listen to Allen, they certainly would if they get rid of Jerry Jones.
Well, I mean, I think he's onto something. That's I don't even think that's a self-Allen take right there. It's
100%.
I think maybe some of the Cowboys fans are oblivious to it, but. Dude, when you control what the coach is doing and all of that good stuff, like, you should have a hand. But I think it should be a once a year, maybe twice a year meeting with the head coach, the general manager, make sure everything's spot on from that point. But yeah, the amount of money that thing would flip for right now.
Well, it's currently the richest NFL team with a value of $7.64 billion. I wonder how much they were established in 1960. Don't know when he actually purchased that. Do you know, just a guess off the top of your head, the next franchises that are worth the most money?
After them, I almost want to throw out the 49ers just because
they're in the next couple.
They're in the top 5, so the next I would say the Patriots.
The next is Patriots are up there. The next is the Los Angeles Rams of all teams, worth estimated.
Is that because of Kroenke?
Probably. Their estimated worth is $5.9 billion.
Almost got them by $2 billion?
Yep. And, and the Commanders just sold for, what, 6.06, something like that? $6.06 billion.
What the heck?
Yeah, so the Rams are worth $5.91 billion, making them the second richest. Obviously, you could probably say now this is before the Commanders were sold, but you could say that what the Commanders sold for made them the second.
Yeah.
And then followed by the New England Patriots with a value of $5.88 billion, and then
Steelers.
And then next is the New York Giants, worth $5.73 billion, followed by the San Francisco 49ers, worth $5.81 billion. Pretty cool stuff.
Wow.
Pretty cool stuff. And I know the Niners Enterprises, which is, the DeBartolo and the York family, I'm pretty sure they just bought a stake or something to do with the Leeds soccer team.
Okay.
I can't say that right off the top of my head.
The 49ers did, who was it? I want to say you had 2 golfers. 2 golfers that were a part of that group to get into the Leeds group. I want to say it was Spieth and maybe JT. And the third was supposed to be Ricky Fowler, but he pulled out.
Gotcha. He's like, I saw what it did to JT's golf game. So like, I'm not doing any
maybe that is the mental stuff that's going on.
Don't buy a soccer team.
Well, yeah, or the financial pressure that's coming with that, and you're not bringing home the bacon like you were a year ago. It could be. I don't know. I would assume that he's done well with his money.
Yeah, so the 49ers Enterprises have paved the way for the sale of the Leeds clubs to that 49ers Enterprise. I'm not going to dive in any more than that. Interesting on this particular list. Let me double check when it's from. May of this year, May 22nd of this year. So fairly accurate. And what it has, this is interesting because of the sale of the outside of the top 5, the next richest team valued per Wealthy Gorilla was the valuation company. It was the Washington Commanders at $4.3 billion. So I wonder why it sold for $6. That's probably just what they came.
Well, yeah, like if you're Jerry Jones and the Cowboys are valued at $7 billion, but the way,
it for 10.
You're selling it for at least 10 right there.
You got to make the net,
and you know that if you're buying the Cowboys, if sports continue on the trend that they're on, then you're going to be worth $13 billion here not too long. You know what I mean? 10, 15 years down the road. So it's a heck of an investment, but the risk is worth the reward.
No, absolutely, especially if the game continues to be as popular as it is, which I don't see changing anytime soon, especially with the momentum sports betting has. But then after that top 5, you had the Commanders, the Bears, the Jets, the Eagles, the Broncos, the Texans, the Seahawks, the Packers coming in at the 8th outside of the top 5, so that would be 13th. The Pittsburgh Steelers 14th, Miami Dolphins being the 15th.
I want to take a stab at who's last whenever you get close to it.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
Oh, are you surprised?
I am surprised.
Really?
All right, take a guess who's last first, because then we'll run.
Now that you say that you're surprised.
I know, my bad.
No, you're fine, because I was going to say it was either going to be the Texans or the Titans.
Well, the Texans were in that next group.
Oh, okay.
The Texans were 6th at number 11 at $3.7 billion. The Titans are definitely down there a little bit, but they are not last.
Jets.
Nope, the Jets were in that as well. They were the 8th richest.
You were rattling them off so fast.
I know, I went fast. Yeah.
All right, just
all right. So this would be the remaining team. So we had 5 and 10, so that's 15. So 16 is the Las Vegas Raiders at $3.415 billion. Then the Baltimore Ravens at $3.4 billion. The Minnesota Vikings at $3.35 billion. The Colts at $3.25 billion. The Falcons at $3.2 billion. The Chargers at $2.92 billion. Just off the top of my head.
Oh, it's the Packers.
No, it's not the Packers. The Packers were in that one
as well.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just spouting off the names that I've heard you say.
Yeah, no, you're good. And then the Panthers at 2.91, the Saints at 2.825, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 2.8 billion, Cardinals 2.65, Titans 2.625, the Cleveland Browns at 2.6, the Detroit Lions at 2.4, Cincinnati Bengals at 2.275. Last but not least, in the NFL's richest franchises, the Buffalo Bills at 2.27. Ironically, I had a conversation with Liam this morning. Only 20 seconds to go on this beautiful Friday, but winning doesn't necessarily correlate to the value of your football franchise. 100%. It has to do with the market, ticket sales, all that stuff. Been a great week, David. Thanks for all your help this week. We'll have Jay back in studio. Tune into the afternoon underdogs tonight at 4 p.m. You've got the Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle Fishing Report coming up as well. We have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is designed specifically for sports fanatics like you. The sports content you demand is